with the Los Angeles Lakers, right in his second season there with Los Angeles. We're not really sure what Bronny James is going to amount to when it comes to an NBA talent. But when it comes to Cooper Flagg, he's been impressive, Jose. No question about it. Yeah. Second game, look, we get it. We're not going to go over the top with it. It's game 2 of Summer League. Yep. But he ends up dropping 31, puts a 31 spot up in his second game in Summer League. Probably not going to get a whole lot of action when it comes to this next couple of weeks. But I got to say, he's going to absolutely infuse himself into the NBA fabric in a way, which now is going to, you've got the Oklahoma City Thunder, right, the defending NBA champions, with SGA, with Chet, with Jalen and those guys in Oklahoma City. You've got a number of other outposts in the NBA that are making a dent. I got to get your early thoughts, though, on Cooper Flagg, and what do you think his impact will be as a young player in this league?
If I'm being honest with you, I don't think we should expect too much from year one. I think that obviously he's going to come out, he's going to ball out. We've already seen what he can do. Even when he was out here with Team USA, right, in Las Vegas when he was playing, the guy was playing like he was already a vet in the NBA, if that makes sense. He's got confidence. We know he can ball. We know what his game is like. But I think in year one, especially with the atmosphere that he's going to have in Dallas after the Luka trade, now you have Anthony Davis there. What is Jason Kidd going to do to try to set up that team and get it going? Not only that, Chris, during this NBA Summer League in 2 games, they try to use him at point guard. They try to use him at power forward. They're trying to figure out exactly where they want him to play the ball overall. And I think that this year, to be honest with you, we can expect a good season. I don't think we're going to see a great season for Cooper Flagg.
What do you think, though, about the whole profile situation? Because here's the deal, right? Once you get a guy like him, people make comparisons because he's the next great white American player, right? And there have been people that have made comparisons. Yeah, I'm going to go there. We can go down this road a little bit, right? I'm not going to get crazy with it. But the point being is that you think about, the kind of player that he is, what his skill set is and what he brings to the table. It's not Larry Bird, folks. It's not even Luka Doncic. To me, the comparison is to like an Andre Kirilenko. It really is. Like he's got that kind of, that's kind of like the way that I look at him as far as like what his skill set is going to translate to in the NBA. And, look, again, it's way too early for us to even be trying to speak intelligently on all things Cooper Flagg and what type of player he could be in this league. But is it maybe just a situation? Look, maybe it's a recency bias where the guy just got drafted 5 seconds ago, and now we automatically want to put him on a pedestal and be some type of torchbearer for the NBA. But when you see this guy, are there comparisons that you want to make in your head, or is it more a sense of let the guy be his own guy when he ends up in the NBA and trying to make a stamp on his own?
I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of already gone from the comparisons because if you think about it, we have comparison conversations all the time. Yeah. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, who's the best, who's this, who's that. So I think we got to get to the point we got to let him just create his own legacy and be his own player, right? Let's stop trying to compare him to who we feel he looks like or what he might be like at the end of the day when his game comes into play. But if I had to choose a player, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm going to say a healthy, okay? Yeah. And what I mean by that is a healthy Chet Holmgren. That's kind of what he reminds me of, but a better offensive player than Chet is. Obviously, Chet, we know what he can do on the defensive side of the ball, obviously. But I think Cooper Flagg has just a better all-around game overall. But again, Chris, we're talking about a kid that just came out of college, has only played 2 NBA Summer League games. I think we got to tone it down a bit because if you listen to the radio waves and everything else on social media and just everything that's out there, people are going crazy over this kid already, right? But the one thing that I will tell you about the hype, I don't think the hype is there. And what I mean by that, look at the last couple summer leagues we've had here, Chris. When Wemby was here, when Trae Young, a bunch of other players came throughout the last couple of years, right? I believe that the hype was a lot bigger. We had a big hype in game 1. Bronny James versus Cooper Flagg, the son of the legend versus the soon-to-be legend, basically, at this point. And it was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. It was a great turnout. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Cooper Flagg, I think we got to kind of pump the brakes with the comparisons and what we think he can be and just wait and see what he is going to turn out to be overall at the end of the day. I think he's going to be a great player. I think he can help the Mavericks kind of get to that playoff push. But I think it's too soon to say that he'll be that guy that's going to put them over the hump and get them to the championship route now that Luka is out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because everything going on with Nico Harrison and, you got to follow the plan and this and that. Get the hell out of here with that. You know damn well you got lucky. You traded Luka, and now you got the biggest name in the draft, but you still got to find a way to put a team around this kid at the end of the day.
Okay, we both mentioned, of course, that Thursday night it was billed. Of course, obviously it was Cooper Flagg's first game ever in a Mavericks uniform, so people aren't going to care about that, right? But also on the other side, it was talked about. It was billed by the NBA Summer League and by the NBA and by social media and by sports media as Bronny James, also on the other side with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, look, again, not a fair comparison, I don't think, because you're talking about comparing a number one overall pick, a guy that's expected to be like a 10 to 15 year guy in the NBA.
Correct. Yeah.
To Bronny James, right? And Bronny James, the takes have been out there for over a year now, right? Since he got the deal with the Los Angeles Lakers, since he was in the NBA and in the G League, right? Bronny James, right? We've seen the evidence so far in his young career, right? He's a guy who, offensively, he's going to have a difficulty when it comes to the NBA, at least so far. Defensively, he's got an opportunity to be in the league, I think, right? That's kind of like my perception of all things Bronny. You want to root for him. And the guys before us on the national side just talked about this, about how Bronny James is a guy, he's a humble guy, right? He's well-liked. He's someone who's, I think he's got a personality that's very different from his father, which is, I guess, understandably so, because LeBron James is probably a top 5 player of all time. Some people think he's the best ever. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but to get back to your take on Bronny, because me personally, I think he has a chance to play in the league, especially because of his skills from a defensive standpoint. But offensively, he's got a lot of challenges. He had a couple games in the G League where he was able to put up some numbers? Yes, he was. Okay, but that's a far cry from getting into the NBA and actually being a factor on that end of the floor if you're Bronny James. I guess it's a 2-part question I'm going to kind of toss to you. Do you think he's going to get the opportunity? Do you think the Lakers give him that opportunity? Or do you think that he's going to grab the bull by the horns? Because I think of Bronny James, Jose, and I'm going to be a little long-winded here. I think of Bronny James, and I think about all the chatter around him and LeBron, the whole situation, right? Because it was unprecedented, right? You have a father-son playing in the league together, first time ever. It's happened, right? And it was all, to me, way too much focused on what LeBron James wanted and LeBron James' ideas about things. And it was almost like Bronny James was being treated like a child, right? Bronny James is a grown man. All right. He should be owning all this stuff by himself. He should be taking the bull by the horns by himself. This is his career. This is his future. This is his opportunity. So I thought it was a little bit disrespectful is not the word. I thought this is rough. I thought for Bronny, how this has all kind of transpired over the past year, because it's been all about LeBron and his wishes and not necessarily geared to what Bronny James and what would be best for his development and career moving forward for him as an NBA prospect and player.
So what is your question for me?
So the question,
I hear what you're saying.
Do you think Bronny James is going to end up panning out and being an NBA talent and end up in the league for more than just these 2 years that he signed with the Los Angeles Lakers?
So I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I do not believe so.
Yeah.
I truly believe that obviously we all know this, the only reason he's on the Lakers and are in the NBA is because of his father, right, obviously. But the only thing that's holding him and stuck to the Lakers, he has got a 4-year guaranteed contract. Whether they keep him in the G League for the next 3 years, It doesn't matter. He's going to be tied and stuck to the Lakers, whether his father is traded or stays or does whatever he wants to do at the end of the day. Now, the one thing that I will say about Bronny James is that he's showing us that he's working on his game. We saw that game against Cooper Flag. Not only that, the biggest thing that I've seen from him from last year to now is confidence. His confidence in only these couple games has been absolutely different. And even to end the season, like you mentioned in the G League, his confidence seemed to skyrocket completely. But how far is your confidence going to get you in an NBA game? How far is your confidence going to get you in your NBA career? You have to work on your game completely. You said it. The offensive side of the ball. There's times where we look at him and we think, damn, he looks like his father. He can score. He can move the ball. And then you're scratching your head at times going, why did he take that shot? Why does he still have the ball in his hand? But at the end of the day, the kid is still living in the shadow of his father, right? He's got to figure out a way to just play his game and not worry about anyone else. I know LeBron posted stuff on social media the other day. He posted a video of Bronny at 4 a.m. or whatever it was, putting up buckets in the driveway at the house, talking about commitment, this, and that. That's cute. That's awesome. You know, your dad's there for you. That's cool. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to get yourself away from that. And here's the thing. Even if the Lakers don't give him that opportunity to be on the starting roster or to be on the NBA roster a lot throughout the year, take advantage of the G League. The G League is not a bad thing. Have we forgot that Chris Middleton was in the G League and won an NBA championship with the Milwaukee Bucks? Have we forgotten that Alex Caruso was in the G League and just won his second NBA championship with the Oklahoma City? Not only that, with the same coach he had in the G League. So again, take the bull by the horns. Take advantage of the situation you have there. And if it's the G League, then Bronny has to tear it up and be the the MVP of the G League, if that's the thing at the end of the day. But right now, we're talking about his NBA career. I don't think there's much promise to it, Chris.
You made the point at the top of this discussion when I brought it up. You said, "Look, he's in the only reason that he's in the NBA, or that he was basically drafted by the Lakers, okay, was because his father is LeBron James." All right, we all talk about that on the air. We all talk about it amongst ourselves. You don't think Bronny James knows that? Bronny James knows that. So when you talk about use the phrases like take the bull by the horns, look at this like an opportunity. You can understand the reality if you're Bronny. How about this? Take advantage of it, right? If you think you are that guy, if you're that man, you think you're that player that can go out there and you can make a dent, that you can be an NBA everyday player, a respectable NBA player. You're not just some relative of some great player, right? And you can do that. Then by all means, Bronny, I hope you're able from a talent standpoint to be able to achieve that and get out there and do it. Now, Jose, focus, of course, it's almost like you don't want to talk about LeBron James after talking about Bronny, but we're going to end up having to do it because it is Vegas.
We always find a way to get that conversation in there, right?
Is it exactly? But it is Vegas.
Yeah.
It is the summer league. Of course, LeBron and Savannah, his wife, are here to see Bronny play. Savannah and his daughter, actually, and her daughter and LeBron's daughter were at the Aces game on Saturday to catch some WNBA action. But LeBron is in town, and apparently, ESPN, who covers basically a lot of the summer league games here in town, we're looking to interview him to talk about his situation with your Los Angeles Lakers, Jose Velate. And he was not down. He did not want to step in front of the mic and talk about the situation in Los Angeles. Now, good. Look, this is another thing that has turned into kind of a dicey situation in Los Angeles because why does this seem to always happen? I'm not going to sit here and be a LeBron hater, even though I am, because I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. That's what I do, okay? I'll bag on the King all day long, even though it's the same thing as Michael Jordan, Jose. It's the same thing. I respect him, but I'm not a fan, okay? I respect him. I think he's a great player. Again, I think you put him in top 5. Yeah. But this has come down to a situation, again, where there's a possibility he could be sent out. He could be shipped out, right? There's been this rumbling, which to me, it's kind of perplexing to me because it feels to me, I feel like Jeannie, wants to be in a situation where she has a good relationship with LeBron. And look, I get it. Jeannie's selling the team and everything, but she's still the face of that franchise. Correct. And the Buss family still is. But why does this always happen, Jose? I guess is what I'm asking you when it comes to LeBron James. And he's got a championship in Los Angeles. He still can play at a high level. I still think he's a top 15 player in the NBA.
100%. Whether you like him or not.
Yes. So why are the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron in this situation?
I think they're in this situation because of the trade that they made for Luka. When you have a 26, 25-year-old kid
in his prime.
Compared to a 40-year-old veteran Like, it's still ball out. And like you said, it's probably going to be top 5 in a lot of people's eyes and all that. But I think that the situation that they're in right now is based fully off of the trade they did last season. Because now you have to figure out what guys can we get to play around Luka. It's no longer about LeBron because we know LeBron's not going to be there for the next 10 years, 8 years, whatever it may be, like Luka can be there. I get it, bringing in DeAndre Ayton now. Obviously, Luka, one of the best guards when it comes to the NBA, when it comes to, lobs and this and that and all that. When the pick and roll, they were talking about it the other day on the radio. But right now, if I'm being honest with you, Chris, I'm a Laker fan. I'm not a LeBron fan. You know that. I'm a Laker fan 100%. Always have been, always will be, born and raised in LA. But I think it's time for LeBron to go. And at this point, the reason I say that, if you're the Lakers, there's no way you're not signing Luka Doncic to that max contract next season, right? There's no way you're not going to find a way to get that done. But at the end of the day, is Luka going to want to sign that with you? Who are you putting around him at the end of the day to try to win a championship, to be a competitor? Right now, in my eyes, it's not about LeBron James anymore. I think the Lakers, knowingly, when LeBron opted into that contract, which is something he's never done, for him to do that is basically a signed stamp saying, hey, guys, I'm here, but just know I cannot be here if I don't want to. But at the end of the day, too, Chris, where's he going to go? I mean, everybody talks about Cleveland. He's going to go back home. Why would he go there? Not only that, there's not enough trade or draft assets or anything that either team can switch for each other. That's one. Maybe Golden State because he likes California. His wife wants to stay in LA. Maybe that could happen. But at the end of the day, again, what are you going to trade? But not only that, if you're LeBron, why would you go to Golden State? That's one conversation I've been having with a lot of people. You have Steph, that's already a lot older, past his prime. You have Draymond, way older, past his prime. Klay Thompson's not there. You're a 40-year-old LeBron. Are you really going to go to Golden State with a team that's kind of on the downward spiral, not on the way up, not rebuilding at that point? If you're LeBron, you want to go to a team that's kind of ready in a way that needs a guy to help you get over that edge and win the championship, right? So at the end of the day, me, respectfully, there is no place that LeBron can go. See, when?
I got to be honest, Jose. The first time you mentioned Golden State, this is the first thing that came to my head, folks, on this Sunday night here on Heatwave Sports. By the way, Chris Wynn, Jose Vellante in for Tim, and Tommy Barton. Here's the first thing I thought of, 2004 Los Angeles Lakers, because you got all these guys who are on the back end of their career that would be all playing together, and LeBron James, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and company, and that correct me if I'm wrong, but that was a Laker team that had Kobe, which was still in the prime.
And who did they lose to?
Shaq.
I know you're going to tell me.
Oh, my gosh. They had Gary Payton and Karl Malone, and I think they had a couple other veterans, too, that were guys that had won championships elsewhere that were on that roster. That's the first team that came to my mind with the team that got beat by my 2004 Detroit Pistons was the Los Angeles Lakers.
Sean Seabill.
But back to LeBron.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple places. A couple other spots that would be intriguing. It would shake things up when it comes to the Eastern Conference, right? It would make it very interesting. Miami or the New York Knicks. Now, look, LeBron James, it seems like it would be. You think it's a circus in LA? Imagine LeBron James in New York with that media market and him on the back end of his career, and yet. I mean, how would you make that work with all the Villanova guys there, and as far as like who gets the bigger piece of the pie? It's LeBron, right? He's got to get a bigger piece of the pie. If we went to New York. I guess what I'm trying to say in a short-winded way is that it would. Maybe I'm here for the drama. If he went to New York, he's not going to Boston because Boston is looking to save money, and they almost dumped. They almost try to get rid of Jaylen Brown because they don't want to spend money. Yeah. But the point being is that. The Knicks, that would be – tell me that would not be juicy, Jose Vellante, if you ended up with LeBron James in the Big Apple.
It's funny that you say this. So correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Mike Brown coach LeBron in Cleveland?
He did, absolutely.
So doesn't this kind of sound like a plot
and
from New York?
He's been an assistant coach in L.A.
For the
right?
Knicks. Exactly.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a plot for the Knicks to say, maybe we can get LeBron if we hire Mike Brown. Right, like not only that, it's like I don't see LeBron going there. Honestly, I don't see him leaving the Lakers. Period. It sucks. I would want him to go, honestly, because I'm to the point where I'm done with the whole LeBron circus, the charade of what it is, what it can be, what it's gonna be. You won a championship in the bubble. You're not gonna win a championship outside the bubble with the Lakers. It may be somewhere else, but right now, at this point, I think it's time for the Lakers to just move on if they can. and give him what he wants. If he truly wants to be traded, where do you want to go? Let's find a way to make it happen. Obviously, it has to be good for both parties. It's not just going to be what LeBron wants and the Lakers get screwed over at the end of the day. But right now, Chris, you have a 26-year-old Luka Doncic just sitting there, bro, in his prime. Not only that, that's already been to the NBA Finals, bro. Already knows what it's like. He's already won championships in Europe. The kid's not young. He's a vet. Take away the age. At this point, you start building around him and find a way to get a foundation to win a championship again and get back to those glory days.
We're talking some NBA hoops here in July. Yes, we're doing it because we're here in Vegas. And of course, the NBA Summer League, something that's been a fixture here. A lot of fun for us to cover here in Vegas, right, Jose? Because it's any of you sports fans, if you get an opportunity to come here to Vegas for the Summer League and around this time, it is a great opportunity, right? You can get out there and hang out with your favorite players. A lot of front office people. A lot of them are ex-NBA players. Have been in the league for a long time, and you can get up close and personal. I mean, you can get right there. I've had some great discussions. Had a chance to, as myself, a Detroit business fan, to meet a lot of guys that I used to root for, even when I was a youngster. And it's a great opportunity, and it's Vegas, and it's hoops, and this has become kind of the unofficial sports capital of the country. Let's just call it what it is. That's what especially when it comes to these type of events, and it coincides, of course, with the WNBA in the regular season right now, and some other great events that are going on around the country. So. But Summer League overall, have you got a chance to get out there yet to check out the Summer League at all?
I've seen some games on TV, seen some stuff, but I have not been out there yet.
So it's obviously because of its proximity to the NBA draft, and you get players that end up finding out where they're going to end up playing, and they get to toss on the jersey, right, and play. Look, it's not NBA regular season basketball. It's not even NBA preseason basketball, but it is an opportunity to kind of showcase these guys, and it has been pretty solid here for the first few days, to see some of these young players that are, and some of them relatively unknown. If they didn't play American college basketball, for a lot of Americans out there, they don't know a lot of these kids from either France or from Spain, or some of these people from Europe that got drafted that haven't had a chance to play here. It really is a cool opportunity, right, to get out there and get a chance to see the young talent in the NBA.
How much are you enjoying the Summer League compared to years past and previous? Because there's been a lot of chatter as if, is it good this year? Is it not? Oh, it's in Vegas. They don't really change things up. I've been to a few Summer Leagues. I'm not going to lie. I've never had a complaint. I've always enjoyed it. And like you said, the biggest part of it is the fan aspect of it. The fact that you can literally bump into some of your favorite players and literally interact with them, and they're not going to push you off, which is pretty dope. And not only that, the biggest thing too, Chris, you can buy a ticket and sit there and watch all games all day, right? So I don't know. From my experience overall as a fan and media, I'm pretty much both even, meaning I enjoy it either way. I think it's a great atmosphere. Do I wish that the NBA would find a better way to probably promote it and some of their new stars a little bit better? Probably. I don't think they do that good of a job. I think they just kind of wash their hands and go, oh, it's Vegas. You know what I mean? We'll be all right. So I'd like to see a little bit more.
Well, you posed the question, Jose. I'll answer it. I think it's solid. I think it is. I mean, from year to year, I think it depends on, what type of are you going to get generational talents, right? Are you going to get the Wembys? Are you going to get the Cooper Flags on a year-by-year basis? And sometimes you're not going to get that, right? Sometimes you're not. But for hoop heads, right, and people that you get a chance to look through the rosters, right, and get to see, especially here in Las Vegas, right, you've got UNLV. You got 3 players from UNLV, former UNLV Running Rebels, that are getting a chance to play in the Summer League. So that's great for a lot of the local fans here. You'll get people, again, that I just pointed out, that'll travel from around the country. They'll happen to be out here. They'll get a chance. You know what? My favorite college player, or I come from a college town where I've got a big time college basketball team. Maybe I've got one of our guys playing in the Summer League. So you go through the rosters, you get a chance to see these guys that you might have a chance, that you might have rooted for in college, get a chance to play on a bigger stage in front of the Vegas crowds and in this league. So I think it's a good thing. The venue's great too, because it sets up perfectly, right? You got the Cox Pavilion along with the Thomas and Mack Center there, kind of a dual venue spot that's good for the Summer League, and it kind of works out well from a logistics standpoint as well too. It's Heatwave Sports coming away live here on a Super Sunday night. Jose Vellante, Chris Wynn coming at you. as we continue. On the other side, let's talk some WNBA with Jose, because both he and I, we cover the team here in Vegas. There's been some interesting storylines. You had the first matchup ever between Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark today in a matchup in the WNBA on national television. Much more, and a couple of points of topic when it comes to the Las Vegas Aces coming your way as we continue here. Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 on the FM side, 1340 AM on that side, as well as streaming on the World Wide Web at the Las Vegas Sports Network. Coming your way on a Sunday night after this. Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right, we got 5 minutes.
Nice.
All right, pick these up.
See win, Jose V in the house.
Got some good picks, baby.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Pretty good one.
Nice.
Got a couple of them. And then from the other side,
Chris.
yeah,
Good
it's a pretty good one.
Let's go.
See these?
stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, man. Appreciate y'all, whoever's on here. I know I can't see any comments right now. 1340 AM, 98.9 FM. You guys already know what it is.
You're room 82. Yep.
Truck you. It's such a funny commercial.
I'll put a couple edits on these. Also.
Appreciate you, Evan.
Awesome.
Do.
I'm gonna head up.
You out?
Good to see you. Yeah. Enjoy, brother.
You want around this weekend?
Huh?
Maybe around this weekend?
Yeah. Oh, he's got it. No, there's no other chair. Sorry. I don't want to sit. Just sit on the ground. What's wrong with that? Yeah, you can. I can't say nothing for sitting on the ground. What are you gonna buy to eat later? Yeah, you said you wanted to buy food later. So this is when you bring your kids to work day. All right, cool. So we got this.
I was gonna say I know a spot that's open, but they may not be open anymore.
What is it?
There's a sushi spot.
Oh, sushi at this hour? Jesus
And
Christ.
you said you want to go to sushi.
Not today, man.
Yeah.
We can go to Fuku. Fuku's open.
Fuku? What's Fuku? Oh, okay. But I've heard of it.
It's pretty good.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
What do you say?
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Chris to the rescue.
Cool.
And so it's good over here. Facebook,
That's good
Twitter,
stuff.
Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
I gotta share it. Do.
Oh yeah, we got the Fox Sports banner in the background. That's beautiful. Man, I'm gonna miss Mags, bro. I remember seeing Mags here Sunday morning. He's dipping, huh?
He's just moving to Japan,
Like
bro.
out of nowhere, bro. Mags, if you're watching, bro, we gonna miss you, man. We're gonna fucking miss you, bro. I can't believe you're going all the way across the world. But you're happy, you're married. That's good, man. Do your thing. Do your thing.
Happy wife, happy life, baby.
Chris said he's gonna go to China too to see if he could find a wife.
Yeah. You know me. I'm not afraid.
I'm not. I ain't scared. Was it Petrangelo that had to retire, or is going to stop playing, or was it him?
I don't think he's retired yet.
But he's
Officially,
got like,
but he's probably gonna have to.
Yeah.
I don't think it's official yet.
But he's going to retire. Who are you showing me?
The battle for Las Vegas.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna mention it.
Did somebody hit a home run to end the game or some shit?
I don't know if
1 minute.
So at 11 o'clock, you got to mention Ben Maller, you are not in the air everywhere.
I should do that too. Dude, he reads.
I'm going to post it on Twitter.
Anytime Ben has a show and I text him.
Uh-huh.
I DM him on Twitter. He mentions it's on the air. I'm like, dude,
Oh,
that's super cool.
My buddy Brian's watching. He goes, I see with the Chelsea kid. What a match.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. We'll probably, we should talk about that at the top of the hour.
But what were you saying before that?
Every time I text him, like, he's our guy Chris in Vegas.
Oh, I know. So I be posting stuff when I'm working at night because I be listening to him and I'll post stuff.
Yeah.
And the other day he had blind callers calling in, and I go, oh, now I get it. This is what Ben meant, right? And I posted a picture of blind people walking each other, and he mentioned me on the radio.
Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 FM, 1340 AM, streaming on the World Wide Web, the Las Vegas Sports Network. It is Heatwave Sports on your Sunday night, coming to your way from our Las Vegas Fox Sports Radio studios. Chris Wynn, Jose Volante in for Tim Oglesby and Tom Barton, talking some summertime hoops. Summertime. That was terrible.
There you go.
But NBA Summer League in town, of course. We just talked about, obviously LeBron James is in town as well, too, to see his son Brody playing for the Lakers. And number one pick overall, Cooper Flagg, as well as the other draft picks are in town with their teams playing until, I believe, the final is either on Monday night or Sunday night, where the Summer League final is. So it's a solid almost 2 weeks of basketball here for the Hoop Heads here in Vegas.
It ends on the 19th, right?
Is it?
That's Saturday. Yeah.
Is going to be the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how the setup is as far as like the games and how the playoff format is, but it makes it intriguing to get a chance to see a lot of these young talent and these young players here in Vegas. Also, when it comes to basketball, Jose, we got the WNBA going at it right now. The Las Vegas Aces, they had kind of an extended road trip, but they had one of those rare come home, play one games, and then go back on the road situations when they played yesterday afternoon in another nationally televised matchup against the Golden State Valkyries. Of course, Natalie Nikasi, former assistant coach for the Las Vegas Aces, now the head coach with the Valkyries. Valkyries playing pretty well, actually, for an expansion team. They're one of the, right around 500, which a lot of these teams in the WNBA are right around 500. But impressive offensive output when it came to the two teams yesterday. The Aces get the win 104-102. A'ja Wilson dealing with a wrist injury on her non-shooting hand. Didn't seem to look like it bothered her too much in the first half. She had 25 first-half points, ended up with over 30 and double-digit boards as well, too. Jackie Young, another big-time game for her as they're able to get the W over the Valkyries and look pretty impressive. But when you think Aces, Jose, especially in the last, 2 to 3 seasons, it's been championship or bust.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feel like I get that vibe from this team here in 2025. Just doesn't seem like they got the horses to get there. When you have A'ja Wilson, look, we understand she's an MVP candidate every single year, okay? You make the move to bring Jewel Lloyd into the mix, who also, by the way, had a good second half in that matchup against the Valkyries. They have a little bit of a different makeup, this team this year, but there just seems like there's other teams that are flat out better, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's New York, whether it's, even Indiana or Chicago. You just feel like there are better teams than Vegas this year, and they may be up against it.
So, you know what, Chris? I don't necessarily agree with that point, meaning there's better teams, but I just think it's gotten to the point where any team that comes in here feels that they can beat us, whether it's here in Vegas, whether it's on the road. You don't have that feeling of we're going to come in here and dominate tonight. Every single game now feels like an even-Steven game, no matter who you're playing at the end of the day. And I think the biggest thing that needs to be talked about that's not being talked about, it's not the fact that Kelsey Plum's not here and Jewel Lloyd took her place. It's not the fact that a couple of the bench players are gone. I think it's the fact that a lot of the coaches from this bench are now gone, Chris. You have 2 coaches that are head coaches in 2 other places, right? One happens to be the Valkyrie. The other one is in Chicago, coaching the Chicago Sky. So I think the fact that not only is Becky still trying to figure out her lineup, right? Trying to figure out some of these new names that she has here on the team, but I think she's still trying to figure out how to use her coaching staff, Chris, as crazy as that sounds, because think about it. At the end of the day, she's the head coach, right? So she has to make sure that everything else runs the way that she wants it, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, whether it's trainers, whatever it may be. It all starts with Becky Hammond at the end of the day. And I think that the fact that not only did she lose players, but she lost coaches, it's not being talked about enough, Chris. But right now, when it comes to this Aces team, I know I'm going to get some hate for this. I kind of feel like we're back in year 2 or 3. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that, you stated it. There's better teams out there. Anyone can beat us at any time now is what I truly feel. I don't go into games confident. And we're gamblers. And what I mean by that, I look at these point spreads and I don't go into these games going, why are the Aces favored by 7? Why are they favored? What? This is crazy. As where last couple of years, oh, they're favored by 10. Book that. Give it to me. No problem. Easy. So there's things that have changed definitely with this team. But the biggest thing that I've seen offensively with the starting 5, Chris, they're leaning way too much on Asia Wilson. I get it. She's the superstar. She's your baller. She's your captain. She's your all. But we need some more of the rest of this team to start playing. Obviously, we saw Nalisa Smith being brought in here with that trade that they did with Dallas, right? I believe it was Dallas, excuse me if I'm not mistaken. And now you're having Kia Stokes take that back seat, which is a player that I've said for years. Why is she starting on this team? Right. She with all due respect, she's dead waste. She's dead space. She doesn't do much. She doesn't affect the game whatsoever in a positive way. She affects it in a negative way. But right now, the Aces have to figure out how to use what they have, Chris.
But it hasn't been really about the offense, right? It's not been about scoring. And Becky's talked about this in press conferences. It's been about defense, right? They won the game the other day, but they still gave up 102 points in that game, right? And by the way, I'm sitting with Jesse Merrick, our guy, our colleague, right? Watching this game, and we're both looking at each other. And we're saying, you know what? Becky, after this game, is not going to be too happy even if they win the game, because there's a team that on the other side there that is in triple digits, right? So, which it's hard, by the way, hardly ever happens in the WNBA. So it's been about that side of the ball, Jose Volante, when it comes to the Aces this year. And so maybe that's part of my rationale why I say that it just doesn't feel like this is a team when the W playoffs roll around that we're going to be saying with confidence, oh, yeah, the Aces are going to be right there with the Lynx and with the Liberty and some of the other teams with a chance to win a championship. As of right now, despite the fact that they won this weekend, I just don't get that feel that you get when it comes to some of the other teams in the W. What am I talking about, those other teams, Jose? Well, you had a matchup today, right, on ABC as Indiana took on Dallas. Obviously, when you have a matchup between two of the top high-profile players in the W, it's going to catch some eyeballs. And that was the case as Paige Buchers and Dallas took on the Indiana Fever. This game was a blowout, right? The Fever win by almost 20 in this game and are led by 5 players in double digits. Caitlin Clark continued to have some issues offensively. She hasn't been exactly explosive offensively, but you look at her final stat line, looks pretty solid with 14 points, even though she was 4-12 from the field. But she had 13 assists in this game and had 4 other teammates, including Howard, including Boston, including Mitchell, as well as Sophie Cunningham off the bench in double digits. So they get the win at home against a very solid Dallas team that also had 5 players, in double digits, led by Paige Buchers with 21 points in this game. This could absolutely end up being a matchup with 2 playoff teams here in this game. But your early reaction when it comes to Paige Buchers and kind of what she's been able to do since she's hopped into the W.
I mean, obviously, we saw what she did. She's already an all-star, right? First rookie, I believe, to be an all-star. And I don't know how long it is, but first rookie this year, obviously only rookie this year, to be chosen, not only to be an all-star, but to be a starter when it comes to these all-stars, right? I think that's what she was chosen. She wasn't chosen as a reserve or anything like that. But I think the biggest thing that needs to be talked about, too, Chris, with this game is Caitlin Clark's struggle.
Yeah.
She is 6 for 35 from the three-point land in her last 6 games. 6 for 35, right? I think she's finally coming down to earth, Chris. And I know people are saying, oh, it's injuries, she's hurt, she's this, she's that. I think she's finally coming down to earth. She's not that strong of a player physically, with all due respect. She chucks up a lot of shots, and you're not Steph Curry. You cannot make them from whenever, however you want. It does not work that way. You still, I can't say this word, but you still complain too much all the damn time. You don't shut up. And then when you do get a foul or something else happens, you try to play the victim. I think she needs to get back to the fundamentals. Call me crazy. Yes, shut up and dribble. Do your job. Get back to playing the ball that we know you can play. And honestly, right now, we're not seeing that from Caitlin Clark. And I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't care if she's injured or not. We saw what she had in the beginning of the season. We saw what she had last year. She's finally coming down to earth. A lot of the things that Diana Taurasi was talking about are finally coming to fruition. People don't want to accept it. People don't like that. But think about it. Look at the records. Look at the stats, Chris. Numbers don't lie. Yeah. Her team is better without her when she's out. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, Jose, coming with the hot takes, baby, because you know there's a contingency on the other side that says when you hear stuff like you just said right now, when you're using phrases like she's coming back down to earth, as if
they don't want to hear it.
She's going to, start to immerse herself in some type of mediocrity as a player, right? Which is that's getting read by all the Caitlin Clark fans out there. Is there even a name for like her fan club or for like her backers? Is there like a fancy name for the people that are her fans? I don't think there is. But Jose, those people are out there because what you just said, right, about her complaint. There's people that are absolutely on the other side of that, Jose, that are saying, why are they going after the Golden Goose? Yeah. Why is there situations transpiring in these games, Mr. Volante, where she's getting hammered, right? Or she's taking physical punishment that she shouldn't be taking, as a player. And look, we get it, it's the pros, so you should be able to expect a certain amount of aggressiveness, right? And we know how basketball is played. Yeah, even in today's era where we call it soft, which I think it is softer than it used to be in both women's and men's basketball. But the point being is that there's people out there, Jose, that are saying the opposite of what you're saying, which is that they come at her way too hard. She doesn't get the respect she should deserve as far as from her colleagues or from players around the league when it comes to how she's treated in games physically. You know what I mean? There's people that are on the other side of what you just described. As far as you described it as her. You used the word victim, right? When you said she plays the victim. I would be on the other side. I kind of push back on that. She's not really a victim, okay? Because she's a pretty tough woman. She's someone who's come out and But look, I know it's part of the game, and she's gotten some of these questionable, I'll call them confrontations on the court, right? Yeah. Obviously, what took place with the Connecticut Sun in that game, and other things that happened. Yeah, with the Sky, and other things that have happened with Caitlin Clark since she's been in the W. Look, it generates chatter, right? We talk about it because it's Caitlin Clark. She moves the needle, all right? That's why we're on Heatwave Sports here. Tim and Tom never talk about the WNBA, all right? We're talking about
Tim may, but I don't know about Tom.
Tim does a little bit, but Tommy not so much. But the reason we're talking about it is because Caitlin Clark moves the needle, okay? She does. And to the point you made when you said, she's coming back down to earth. She could. I'm not going to sit here and talk and act like she's, already the greatest female basketball player of all time. She's not. Okay, she's just not. She doesn't have she's played what? 60 games in the WNBA, maybe 50 games in the WNBA. Really? We're going to talk about a person like that has, as being the greatest WNBA player or the greatest women's basketball player of all time? No, I think it's absurd. Okay, it's ridiculous. But when it comes to talking women's basketball, what's the first thing we go to? We go to Caitlin Clark. We just do because she's right now is they've used the term. I've used the term. I don't know if you have, Jose. The Golden Goose, right? She's the Golden Goose, and so that's the reason why we care and that we talk about it.
The crazy thing about this that you say that she's the Golden Goose. One thing that's not talked about a lot is the fans. How do the fans really feel? And I'm gonna throw this out. I'll throw this out here to you. What I mean by that. They travel, right? We saw what happened here in Vegas. Yeah. They weren't going to play at Michelob Ultra Arena. They're going to play at T-Mobile because we know that the Caitlin Clark fans are going to travel, right? The Indiana Fever, the Iowa fans, whatever it may be, they are going to travel. They're going to be here. I had 2 season ticket holders tell me, and they want to stay anonymous, so I'm going to keep it that way because I respect them. They sold their tickets and decided not to go to that game. My question is, why would you not want to go, whether you're a Clark fan or not, just because of the hype and where it's going to be? Why wouldn't you want to be in that atmosphere? Because I can't stand Caitlin Clark. I'm like, so wait a minute. Are they yelling too much or what's going on? Is it too much? No. Like, you don't understand. It gets to the point where I feel disrespected. I don't feel like I can come to support my team. They're nasty, they're dirty, they're horrible. And I'm like, I've never heard of this before. So think about this. Everyone wants to talk about the golden goose. She's the WNBA's golden goose. Let's make the money. Yeah. Let's get on that train and do whatever we want. But yet no one's talking about the negativity that's happening because of her. It's not her fault. And I even said this last year, and people called me crazy. I said that Caitlin Clark might be the best, yet the worst thing to happen to the WNBA. Because think about all the racial stuff that started happening, right? Because of all that. And it's, again, not her fault. I'm not throwing it on her, and I want people to get that perfectly clear. I'm just stating because of who she is, because of her aura, because of her greatness of what she was bringing to the WNBA. She brought a lot of negative with her, too, that was not her fault. And we don't talk about that enough, and I think that's the problem. We talk too much about her game, who she is, the ticket sales, the jerseys, the numbers, the shoes. But yet we don't talk about all the negativity that does come behind being a Caitlin Clark fan or being a non-Caitlin Clark fan, not wanting to go to a game where your home team that you have season tickets to is playing her and you don't want to be there. So I think that the conversation needs to grow more and not just be about what we're watching on television, Chris.
You make a point, though, about, bringing attention to the league. At the end of the day, Jose Volante, you know that Kathy Engelbert and the powers that be in the offices of the W, they go by the mantra of any publicity is good publicity, right? The fact that we talk about the WNBA, the fact that the airwaves across America, right, in television, radio, new media, legacy media, old media, whatever you want to call it, talk about the WNBA, it's a good thing for the league, right? 100%. That's the way they look at it. They said, okay, even back when the stuff went, whether it's racial, whether it's society, whether it's fan based, you talk about the fans. That's interesting to me too, because you bring it up. So you're telling me that Aces fans are like, oh, we don't want to go root for the Aces at T-Mobile Arena when they're taking on the Fever because they don't want to deal with Caitlin Clark fans
2 seasons
getting in their ear,
Chris.
ear down in the arena. That's kind of soft if you're talking. Come on, Aces fans. That's kind of soft. I don't know.
It depends on what's being said. We don't know what's being said by these fans. So that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, I look at it from a standpoint of you're trying to grow your league, right? And we don't have time to get into this because we're coming up to the top of the hour because there's this whole situation that happened, obviously, a couple weeks ago, right? When it came to the expansion announcement in the WNBA, and we had a certain high-profile player, Sophie Cunningham, that came out and had some things to say about the cities. Literally 24 hours after the commissioner made the announcement they were expanding in the WNBA, you have one of your high-profile players coming out and taking a dump on a couple of the cities that are going to have NBA franchises again because they had it before in Cleveland and Detroit. But you're trying to grow the sport, right? If you're the W, and any publicity can be good publicity. Anytime they're talking about your league, anytime you go on the specialty sports shows across the board, whether it's Pardon the Interruption, FS1, blah, 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 here on the airwaves of Lotus, whether it's ESPN, Fox Sports Radio, FSR 920, it doesn't matter. If they're talking about the WNBA, people are going to pay attention when they weren't paying attention before, okay? So that can be a good thing. So when you have a player like Sophie Cunningham coming out and literally like less than a day after your commissioner goes up and makes the announcement, that's supposed to be a positive thing, right? That you're expanding the league, that you're putting teams in Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Detroit. And she makes a statement like she made, and look, she got in fairness, and I fully expected it, she got hammered on social media. Out of every person who was backing her, there were thousands of people that were hammering her, okay, because of her comments. You don't want to have that type of situation raise its head when you're trying to build a league. And building a league, of course, is expanding it when you're expanding to other cities and putting WNBA basketball back into markets where it used to be, and in Philadelphia's case, I don't think Philadelphia's had a team, right, in the WNBA.
No.
You're trying to expand women's basketball, and you're trying to put a spotlight on your league, and then you have something like that transpire. It's tough.
And even the president of the Players Association, I believe it's Satu Sabalek, she came out and she said, why are we expanding a league that and I'm paraphrasing here, that loses money, that doesn't want to pay their players what they should be paid, doesn't want to focus or worry about transportation and travel, but yet we're focused about adding 2 or 3 more teams in the league. With all due respect, how about you fix what's already there, Kathy? And that's the problem. When the expansion was announced, Chris, I laughed. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was.
Well, you're making the case right now, though, that they should expand.
They should not expand.
Those who would say
you have a league that's being funded.
I understand that, yes. And look, the reality is what you said is the reality, right?
Yeah.
It's a league. Have some teams been in the black, like the Las Vegas Aces or maybe some others, on a couple selective years? Yes. Yeah. There have been a couple teams that have made money. But overall, you are factually accurate. The league has not made money. And it's been supplemented by the NBA, right? That's how the league has existed for 26 years, right? So we get that. The people that make the case for expansion are saying, okay, yes, we understand the business model and we understand the financial realities. We think this is something, though, that could benefit those things, right? That could be a plus as far as expanding into other markets where you get an opportunity maybe to get more money into the pie from these markets. Maybe that's the rationale. Look, we don't work for the WNBA. We don't work in the offices, so I'm not privy to the reasoning why they're expanding in these markets. But the beef I had, maybe it's a personal beef too, because I'm from Michigan, right? I'm a Detroit guy.
He wants.
And by the way, the Detroit Shock.
He wants the Shock back.
The Detroit Shock won 3 championships in like 10 years. For 4 of those years, in the middle of that time period, they were had the highest attendance in the league. Yes, did they lose $2 million the last year because Davison died and there's a lot of things on? Yeah, there was. Again, to circle this back though, the WNBA it was a good story that they were expanding, and then you had a player that just absolutely just lambasted it 24 hours later. It was tough. It was tough, Jose. 1 hour's in the books, another hour on the way, folks. A lot of outstanding, a lot of fun chatter going on between the two of us here. When we come back, let's talk a little Major League Baseball, my friend. Of course, the All-Star break is in full force right now. Just started. We had the Flannel Sunday in MLB. Let's get into that and much, much more as we continue Heatwave Sports on your Super Sunday night. Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 FM, 1340 AM, Las Vegas.
Oh, it's cool. Good hour. Good first hour.
Good. It's always fun talking about the whole Caitlin.
So wait, the Cunningham, are you talking about the video that Willie did on the court with her at the Aces game?
Our family has spent over 3
No.
You saw that one, right?
No. Willie was did I send you the video or did I send it to Tim? You're talking about Willie
G.
Willie G.
Because he did do a video with her.
Have you guys watched the quarterback series yet?
Not the new one. I saw the old one.
Okay, so the quarterback series, right? It focuses on Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, and Joe Burrow. So there was a clip that they aired on the series. I think it was in the 5th episode this year, where Willie's asking a question, and it's on the fucking series, and you can hear Willie clearly. It's like, so I took a freeze frame and sent it to Willie. I go, Pops, they got you on the freaking quarterback series, bro. And because I knew he would get all riled up and be like, oh, that's so awesome. It's Willie. He gets fired up for shit like that. So I sent it to him, and he's
Willie?
Like, oh yeah. And so Willie's like, he's like, bro, they didn't have you on camera though. I go, and I go, dude, yeah, because you didn't get to see one of your classic drips, bro. Like, they didn't see your threads, bro. And Willie loves his clothes, right? So he's like, Willie's like freaking Max and Brian Salmon. So that the first thing that Willie's texted me back is, they didn't put me on camera. I'm like, dude, really? You should be happy, bro. They got your audio. They got your question. He's asking Raheem Morris, head coach of the Falcons, played the Raiders, and it was the game where they won, but they didn't. Kirk Cousins played like shit. And so Willie's like, what are Kirk Cousins? What's his prospects when it comes to him still being the starting quarterback in Atlanta? And they played that on the series. So Willie's like,
Yeah.
all kinds of fired up.
It's like what happened to Magnum. He's on a face-off, and they only used his voice.
Oh, did that? Yeah.
Bro, so remember the game? This was about 3 home games, probably about a week and a half ago. I asked Chelsea Gray and the game at T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah.
I asked Chelsea Gray and I asked Asia, and then I asked Becky the same question about Ali and I, what do they think about their games or whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, the Aces made a fucking video and put it on all their social medias, and it starts with my voice asking the question, and they gave the answers to all my questions.
Rolling through another edition of Heatwave Sports here on a Super Sunday night at Fox Sports Radio 98.9 on the FM side. Find us on 1340 on the AM side here from our studios in Las Vegas. You can find us on the World Wide Web at the Las Vegas Sports Network. Find our co-host tonight, Jose Volante. Find him at Jose_Volante on X. You can find me at Christian Wynn on X. Find the show, folks, at HW Sports. We love the interaction. Hit us up on the X machine. We are emanating live, folks, from here in Las Vegas. Our guy, Ben Maller, of course, on the national show. He will follow us at midnight.
You gotta let me say.
But we preempt him here in the great city of Las Vegas, Jose Volante.
Ben, I'm sorry, but
Yes.
you are not in the air everywhere.
But Jose, I pretty much guarantee he's not listening because he's probably saying that on all the
Right
other
now.
affiliates across the
It's
country.
right 11 o'clock.
And that's fine. That's fine. All right. And he's probably going to talk about a lot of the same topics we have, right, my friend? Because the
Tell me how much
Major
he
League
hates the NBA. It's
Baseball
crazy.
season.
Yeah.
He's not a big. He's not a big fan of either. Is college basketball.
Oh yeah, he hates.
He's not. Ben Maller, of course, a lot of you know him because he's a national host here on Fox Sports Radio. Not a huge college hoops fan, my friend. And I had to remind him as I hit him up on a DM on Twitter. I'm not name dropping here because this is legit. I hit him up because during the college basketball season, there was like a bunch of games here in town. UNLV was playing somebody. There was some college basketball tournament in town too here, which is always, right, Jose? During the college basketball season, some college basketball tournament in town. So there were some high-profile teams. I don't remember what the teams were. But I was pointing out to him on his show. I said, hey, Matt, there's college hoops all over the place going on right now. And he's like, oh, yeah, here we go. Chris from Vegas hits us up and says I should be talking more college hoops. You probably should. Okay. But we digress, Jose. Because there is another sport also it's on to play right now. That, of course, is Major League Baseball. Final Sunday before the All-Star break, of course. A lot of the top teams in action against each other. Great matchup with the Chicago Cubs in New York taking on the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. The Tigers were at home right now with the best record in baseball at home in a series against a very tough team out of the American League West and the Seattle Mariners. You got the Dodgers-Giants hated rivalry going on up in the Bay Area to close out things as we head to the All-Star break. So it makes it all kinds of intriguing, Jose, as we go to the Midsummer Classic, where you get all the greatest players right now in Major League Baseball on display. And the first guy that comes to mind, and you're wearing, and all of you can see us on the socials, can see us on video, can see Jose Volante, the Yankee fan, sporting the Cubs hat.
And it's crazy because they beat us
Yes.
today. And I remember also for people that know me, I like hats. I'm wearing the C. Chelsea won today. C, get it? Okay, there we go.
Yeah. But the All-Star game, of course, is in Atlanta. Got a chance to see some of the future stars right in the Futures game yesterday, and some of the young players, the young talent. All the big-time Major League Baseball stars will be on display on Tuesday night. And there's a lot of guys that are going to be talked about. Of course, Aaron Judge having a historic season right now for the New York Yankees. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. It felt like when this Major League Baseball season started that you're going to have a real good opportunity to see a rematch of the World Series from a year ago. There have been some teams that we're going to talk about, of course, that have thrown a little bit of monkey wrench in that situation. But as you go to the All-Star game, Jose, first of all, I got to get your perspective on the All-Star game. And I look at it this year, and I think it's an opportunity to see some of the bright young stars in baseball. And the first guy that comes to mind, and the reason I mentioned your baseball cap, is someone like Pete Crow Armstrong, right? Opportunity for the nation to get a chance to see him on display. And, of course, a pitching matchup between two young guys who look like they're going to be carrying the torch for all things aces, with, of course, Tarek Skubal starting for the American League and, of course, Paul Skeens for the National League.
The thing about Terrence Skubal, though, and obviously Paul Skeens, is how long are we going to see Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh?
Well,
Right,
if you're judging by Pittsburgh Pirate history and star players being in that team, it could be a very short period of time.
The one thing that I will say, and I got to quote Tommy, why are we calling this the Midsummer Classic? He talked about it yesterday, right? He talked about it last night.
Okay.
We're 93 or whatever the hell games it is in.
Yeah.
We're not at the halfway point.
It's not the halfway point.
It's not the halfway point.
Notice I didn't say it, Jose. I didn't drop that. It's over. We're halfway through the season.
You made sure not to throw that in there. But
yes.
It's just it's crazy to me that they kind of categorize it to what it is. But to be honest with you, I I don't want to sound like we're holding hands and we're singing Kumbaya, but I kind of agree with Tommy and some of the things that he said last night, that I'm not really excited nor intrigued to even watch this All-Star game, because a lot of these All-Star games have just become irrelevant, Chris. We talk about the NFL Pro Bowl, you know what I mean, what it is now, a flag football game. You talk about the NBA All-Star game, it's basically just a run and gun, shoot, who can score as many points, nobody's playing defense. Like, it's not what it used to be. It doesn't mean anything anymore the way that it did some of the players back in the day. So I think now it should be more of kind of what you said. Let's get some of these younger talents, some of these smaller name guys that may be known in their own market, but not in all other markets, that we want to get out there, that we want the fans of Major League Baseball to know who these up-and-coming stars are. Obviously, we know the names. We know Judge, Cal Raleigh, all these other guys that are hitting home runs that are going crazy this year, obviously Shohei Ohtani. But you want to get to know some of these other names that may not be known outside of maybe if you live in LA and there's a guy in New York or there's a guy in Texas or whatever it may be. You want to know more about these players. And I think that's what MLB should take advantage of, is try to find a way to switch up the format to make it more about the guys that not everyone knows about that are there for that weekend.
But to your point, though, about, kind of the interest in the All-Star game, I think a lot of that lends to the fact that you don't have the same feel, I guess, as we used to have when the All-Star game came around, because you got interleague play now that is in full force. And you've had it now for, over a couple decades now, at least, So you don't have that kind of unique opportunity where you get a chance to see the guys from the National League and the American League on the same field competing against each other. You don't get that unique kind of feel. It's just not that way anymore, because guys are playing each other across in interleague games all the time.
Yeah. So
you don't have that. But it to me, I still is, out of all the All-Star games, whether it's the NBA, obviously the NHL, or the Pro Bowl, which isn't even a game anymore, right? It's just basically it's a flag football game, and it's a weekend, which should be in Vegas or Miami or Orlando every time
year.
you play it. But out of all the four major sports in America, I think it still has the most intrigue left out of all of them, because you do get the individual matchups of pitcher versus batter, right? You get a chance to see one guy go against you. You might have a chance you get a chance to see the best go against the best, right? The up and coming guys like the Pete Crow Armstrongs. You mentioned Cal Raleigh as a guy. Cal Raleigh's, I would put in that category as a guy that maybe a lot of America didn't know 2 weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And of course, because of his historic home run streak right now, basically, where he and I think it's Barry Bonds, right, have the most home runs at the All-Star break, something like that. The point being is that, he plays in Seattle, though. It's not exactly New York or LA. So it's not a huge market. But I guess the point I'm driving at is that you still get a chance to see the top tier guys and the top tier up and coming guys, right? Got to go against each other. And that adds a little interest, I think, to the game.
I'll be honest with you. I don't remember the last time I saw an MLB All-Star game. Like, I'm being 100% honest with you. The last home run derby that I watched that I can remember was Justin Morneau and Hamilton in New York.
Yeah.
When obviously everyone remembers what Hamilton, not necessarily Morneau winning it all, but we know what Hamilton did with the 26.
Well, see, that's the thing. So Josh Hamilton was
I don't remember
fascinating.
the All-Star game,
but Jose, Josh Hamilton was fascinating to watch. I agree with you That was the last time I think people cared about the home run. Like I'm a baseball guy, so I watch it every year. So anytime if it's the polar bear, if it's any of these guys, I watch it. Okay, but I'm in your camp when it comes to did I give a damn about it, right? The last time I gave a damn was watching Josh Hamilton because he was someone who was fascinating to watch in that type of scenario, right? The home run derby because of his skill set. I mean, he was fun to watch. So, yes, I would agree with you. A lot of people talk about the home run derby, right? Jose, like to talk about the dunk contest. They think that maybe you should go bye-bye.
Yeah.
When you have what has happened here in the last 4, 5, 6 days, where it almost feels like Major League Baseball had to find guys to get into the home run derby, right? As far as like their interest, get them to they had to nudge Major League players to get into this contest.
We need you.
That's not the way. Yeah, that's not the way you want it to be if you're Major League Baseball and the All-Star festivities, right? You want them to actually want to be there and be in that. You kind of get the same kind of vibe, right, when it comes to the dunk contest, where the dunk contest becomes a situation where you got a lot of these obscure guys, right, that aren't necessarily NBA All-Stars, but they're athletes. They're super athletic, and they're able to win the dunk contest, like our guy from UNLV, Derek Jones Jr. and some others, right, that get a chance to kind of showcase themselves at the All-Star weekend. It's kind of turned into that, which is not a great thing when you're talking about the home run derby.
Not only that, you got guys talking about money.
Yeah.
Juan Soto. Think about it. You got guys talking about, well, I got snubbed. I didn't make the All-Star break. I got to get that extra money. I got to get that extra chip, that extra cash. You know what I mean? And not only that, you get the conversation of who should be in, who should be out, who should make it, who should not. And not only that, Chris, contracts. All these contracts now are based off of incentives and what you do, how you do it, and where you make it. If you're an All-Star, you get paid more. If you hit a certain amount of hits, you get paid more. If you have a batting average. I mean, everything is tied into your contract now. It's absolutely ridiculous. But overall, I'll be honest with you, I have no interest in the All-Star game. I probably won't watch it. I could honestly care less about it. I might jump in to watch a little bit of the home run derby, but with all due respect, there's not really a guy out there that I can say that I want to go watch just because of this derby. You know what I think would change my mind? If you want to get me as a fan to watch more of this game, let's pitch for real in the game. Because I feel that, honestly, the pitchers aren't really giving it everything they want to give it in these games. But if you want to see a real home run derby, let's see guys hitting real pitches. Let me see a curveball. Let me see a cutter. Let me see a slider. Let me see you hit a home run on real action. I don't want to see batting practice. Anybody can see batting practice, Chris. I can go to an hour before a game starts and go watch batting practice and see. I can sit in the outfield and catch home runs from these guys during batting practice. Why would I want to watch it on an all-star weekend? Show me something more exciting. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Let me see a real-time pitch get hit for 14 home runs, 15 home runs in a night. That's what I want to see. That's going to get me to jump on the screen and go, I don't know who's hitting tonight, but I want to watch this. And MLB hasn't done anything to make their all-star weekend better.
In fairness to what you said, though, about the pitching situation, look, when you got double-digit pitchers, right, for both squads, whether it's the National American League, I mean, you're basically in a situation where, the starter will go 2 innings, right? And then every other inning is going to be a different pitcher. So it's kind of like it's an opportunity to showcase your entire team when it comes to the pitching staff. Of course, most all-star games, not every person is going to get a chance to get in the game. It just doesn't logistically work out that way, right? You'll have some guys that, are utility guys or guys that, are reserves that might not play in the game, but it's an honor to be asked to be on the team, right? It's a historical thing for you. And it's obviously a resume thing for you as a major league player. It's a great thing. But, it makes it tough, though, to have any kind of continuity when you've got a different pitcher in every single inning for basically both teams in that kind of setup. But, moving away from the All-Star game, Jose, got to get your perspective when it comes to all things the Major League Baseball season so far. A lot of interesting developments when it comes to the standings, right? Let's start in the American League East, right? You got 4 teams that are over 500 in this division. The Boston Red Sox, of course, the talk of Major League Baseball the last couple of weeks because they've got a 10-game winning streak. They capped off another sweep of the series today. I think it was against Tampa Bay, right? Yep. In Boston, where Aroldis Chapman went out there, got another save. And also, speaking of All-Stars, The Red Sox are now, I believe, they're 8 games over 500 in the American League East.
Yep.
You've got the Toronto Blue Jays now at the top of the division. The Yankees had some struggles, of course, and now are sitting in the second slot there. But again, as I pointed out, 4 teams from that division that are over 500 and realistically in the playoff mix for the American League, where it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of catch all things American League East baseball going the rest of the way. But I guess the first question is to you is, what's up with this Boston Red Sox team, right? I mean, look, we understand that, they have Garrett Crochet. They have some guys when it comes to heading to that bump and on that pitching staff that are pretty solid. But offensively, they've been pretty impressive. And Roman Anthony, how about this? This guy's got I believe it's a 9-game hitting streak, which is the longest hitting streak of a Red Sox player since the 1950s. I'm not going to butcher the guy's name back then who had that winning. He's the longest hitting streak at that age. Roman Anthony, how young he is, right? It's not the longest hitting streak for a Red Sox, but for a guy that's that young. A lot of people around Major League Baseball and a lot of talking heads, Jose Volante, had written off the Red Sox this year and were saying, hey, they got Crochet and they got obviously Alex Bregman, but in a few weeks here, they're going to be sellers, not buyers. Now this team's sitting 8 games over 500 and right there in the mix in the American League East. Going to make it a lot of fun to kind of see how this all shakes out in that division.
They got rid of Rafael Devers, and they've won ever since.
Yeah.
Think about that. Just think about that.
Addition by subtraction, my friend.
A lot of people think, oh, well, the guy, his numbers, this, that, and the other. But what was he like in the locker room? Maybe he wasn't the cancer, but maybe because of his situation and what was going on with the team, with him not getting what he wanted, with him getting switched out from position. I want you to play first. I want you to be a DH. We're going to give Bregman third. All that switching up, I think that it had an effect in the locker room, Chris. Because if you think about it, you've said it. This team looks completely different in these last 10 games. They look like nothing like they did before. Before all of this ever happened, they were struggling. Nobody thought they were going to make the playoffs. Now we're talking about a possible playoff team and a team that could possibly win this division. As crazy as that sounds right now, right? But I think it all started and ended with Rafael Devers. I think he was a cancer. I think he was not helping that locker room. And I think it caused some of these players to not be as focused as they should. And now that he's out of there, I think not only that allows Alex Cora to get back to his core of what he likes to do, how he likes to manage his team. He understands what players he has, how he can use them, where he can use them at the end of the day. And yeah, I get it. You brought in Bregman. He gets hurt. You had the situation with Devers. You finally traded him away. You got it out. But you still have the rest of that squad there. And you figure out how to play with what you have. And that's what Alex Cora is doing. He's creating a different atmosphere in that locker room. These guys believe now, and they've definitely believed ever since Devers is gone. 10-game winning streak, why not? But can they withstand it and can they hold it is the question, Chris. How long can they continue to stay hot? Will the Yankees continue to be as bad as they have been in these last 10 games, going 5-5? There's a lot of question marks in that division, like you said, with 3 teams being over 500, right? So at the end of the day, I don't know if Boston still has enough to finish out this run to the end of the season.
You mentioned, of course, sending Rafael Devers to San Francisco, but this team still has pieces, right? Alex Bregman, is one of the top players. Trevor Story's kind of had a resurgence here as of late. He's hitting almost up to the 260 mark. He was had a couple big hits today. Rafaela's hitting home runs in center field, which is kind of a surprise for him there. And of course, the young guys I already mentioned, of course, Roman Anthony, as well as Marcelo Mayer as well, too, a guy that they just called up, another young guy. And, of course, Duran as well, too, is a guy who they've been talking about shipping out as well, too, along with Rafael Devers, but they haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. And he was able to get a hit today, too, as well, too. So, and then I mentioned the pitching staff, of course, whether it's Aroldis Chapman on the back end, who's, kind of like 2019 Aroldis Chapman right now, where he was hitting 99 today. Still, right, for them. And yeah, Brian Bello, who was a guy that was expected to kind of be one of their higher end of the rotation guys, who went out there and pitched the gym today as well, too. So all things Red Sox Nation, they're fired up, I'm sure, singing Neil Diamond and getting all gassed for the wins. We'll see how they respond when they come back. Now, of course, when we're in this division and when you're on this show, Jose Volante, Heatwave Sports, and whether it's with Tim, whether it's with Tom Barton, but especially when it's with Tom Barton, we talk about the Yankees, all right? And, of course, we're going to talk about the Yankees with you because you're a Yankee guy. Yeah. So The Yankees, of course, they went through, kind of, let's call it what it was. They went through a little bit of a slump here in the last couple of weeks. They've been able to kind of right the ship a little bit, despite the fact that Aaron Judge is just absolutely, positively killing it from an offensive standpoint, just destroying it. I happen to be the benefactor of that because I have him on my fantasy team. But I digress. The Yankees right there in the mix. Look, we thought maybe when there was predictions made by all the baseball heads out there before the season started that Toronto could be a team that could throw things in the mix here. But the Blue Jays are right there at the top. The New York Yankees, when it comes to what they need to do as far as maybe an addition, what are you thinking, Jose, as far as what direction they could go? Because you got a feeling that they do have the offensive pieces, right? They could, that they're already a contender, but I feel like it's not so much offense. To me, it's they need arms, or maybe they need a arm to kind of put themselves over the top where they could be that, bona fide, expected to be favorite in the American League.
Yeah, if we're talking about who has to come in, who has to go out, if we're talking about offensively or even, on the defensive side, I'll probably say maybe a third baseman, somebody on the infield that we might want to bring in to cover that, because Peraza just has not been that guy, if we're being honest. But I've said it from day one, from the first week of the season. I said the Yankees are good, but our pitching is going to be a problem. I've had this conversation since the beginning of the season. It has gotten to be that overall, right? Our rotation is very skeptical. Even our bullpen is not the greatest overall. We know that. They can give up runs at any given time. They can lose games at any given time. But offensively, Crystal, there are times where you scratch your head, where you go, you're playing against a certain pitcher or a certain team. Why aren't you putting up runs? Why aren't you getting hits, right? And I get it. You look at the stat line I showed you right now, Aaron Judge leading basically every single stat line there is to be with the Yankees. I got to see a little bit more from everybody else. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying I necessarily want to see somebody step up. I want to see some more consistency from the rest of the team overall, if that makes sense, right? I don't necessarily need someone to jump up because we know Aaron Judge is going to be that guy at the end of the day. But everyone else needs to understand their role. And I think that's the problem with this Yankee team, that Aaron Boone has not been able to put everybody where they belong and understand what they can bring to this team and how they can play. And that's what we're looking at. 5-5 in their last 10 games. Not only that, you're losing to some teams that you should be beating at the end of the day. So it's getting really tough, Chris, right now. And not only that, that division is the hardest in baseball, in my opinion. It's going to come down to the wire. And all three teams might even make the playoffs. We don't know that when it comes to the wild card and the way things are now. But I think the Yankees, if I'm being honest with you, they got to get some arms more than anything. I don't necessarily think that third base is going to make that big of a difference. But you got to get some more pitchers in there, man. Definitely solid, make that rotation better, and help your bullpen.
Yeah, the Orioles, the only team under 500 in that division. Interesting how it breaks down the last 10 games, and especially in the last handful of games, in the last 4 or 5 games. Obviously, the Red Sox with that 10-game winning streak, but everybody else in the division has lost multiple games in a row going into the All-Star break. So make no mistake about it, right, Jose? It's not like Toronto's going to run away with the division, okay? It's not like any of these teams are probably going to pull away in any significant scenario whatsoever. It's going to be kind of a dogfight, really, between all these teams at the top of this division when you're talking about those top 4. And of course, Tim Uglesby's Baltimore Orioles, who, by the way, make me look terrible, Jose Volante, because I believe I did pick the Orioles to win the American League East. I definitely picked them to at least make the playoffs. And now they're sitting, I believe, 14 games under 500. I'm not even looking at it right now, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And they have some of the best young talent in baseball, yet still are performing terribly. So it's real rough for the C-win prediction when it comes to the AL East. In American League Central,
they're actually 9 games below 500.
Oh, my mistake. Okay, yeah. So they're only single digits under the 500 mark. That's fine. But the American League Central, Jose, look, this is a division that a lot of people, again, in baseball thought this was going to be a pretty competitive division, that there's going to be the possibility you could get 3 teams from the division into the playoffs before the season started. Has not shaken out that way, my friend. The Detroit Tigers, obviously, with the best record in baseball right now, 59-38, on the heels of guys like Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize, an offense led by a plethora of players that are absolutely overperforming what people thought they would be able to do. Look, we, and I say we as Tigers fans and those who are in the know, all things Detroit Tigers, understood that Riley Green was probably going to be a guy that's going to break out and be a star in this league. He has certainly shown that. They have other pieces, obviously, as well, too. When you talk about McKinstry, who's also an all-star, who's had a solid season at third base for the Tigers, and you've had the resurgence, right, of Gleyber Torres and Javi Baez, especially Baez, who basically was written off as you're essentially Miguel Cabrera circa 2024-23. Like, you're on the end of, you know what I'm saying, where that's kind of the viewpoint that was taken with him. Both of those guys are starting in the All-Star game. And the Tigers have had some pleasant surprises when it comes to position players that have stepped up and been big time for Detroit. But the rest of the division, Jose, absolutely positively has been a disappointment, especially the Cleveland Guardians, right? There was expectations that the Kansas City Royals were going to be in the mix for a team that could absolutely throw things into Tiffy when it came to the playoffs. And the Minnesota Twins as well, too. By the way, Byron Buxton is in the conversation as much as anybody else is in the conversation for the MVP in the American League behind Aaron Judge. But Byron Buxton has been outstanding, right? And a couple other players for that team have been too. But every single other team in the American League Central is sitting far behind the Tigers in that division. It has been a flat-out disappointment when you talk about those 5 teams in Major League Baseball. Excuse me, those 4 other than Detroit.
Yeah, but Detroit better figure it out, though, because you got teams like the Dodgers that even though the Dodgers lost 3 out of their last 7, they're still 1 game behind the Tigers for the best record overall in baseball when it comes to that, right? But the Tigers have been obviously, I think, the biggest surprise of Major League Baseball this whole season overall, because you're a Tigers fan. What did you really expect from them this year? Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
I expected them to be a playoff team. I did. But I absolutely, positively, Mr. Vellante did not expect them to be this good. Yeah, to have this record, I guess I should say. Because, look, they got swept this weekend, of course, by the Seattle Mariners. But it's not like getting swept by the Colorado Rockies, okay? The Mariners are also in the playoff mix. So, take it for what it's worth. They did get swept. But, you can go by the mantra that everybody goes by, right? In Major League Baseball, it's a 162-game season. Every team, no matter how good you are, is going to have these streaks. We just talked about the New York Yankees, right? The Los Angeles Dodgers have not been infallible, okay? You know the deal when it comes to Major League Baseball and these long seasons. Teams are going to go through these stretches. But absolutely, positively did not have the expectation that you were going to get the numbers that you're going to get from the likes of Spencer Torkelson, right? You did not think Gleyber Torres is going to go out there and, have 84 hits at the All-Star break. You didn't think Zach McKinstry was going to be an All-Star. You didn't think Javi Baez or Kerry Carpenter or Colton Keith, right? Who's going to end up, Darren Dingler and Perez as well, too. Wendell Perez has been solid as well, too. It's been a kind of all-around effort for the Tigers. The attention and the notoriety has been absolutely justified because the Tigers have played this way. They deserved it. And they deserve to be talked about as a team in the American League that could get to a World Series. But as a Tiger fan and as Major League Baseball fans like you are, Jose, no, it's not what you do before the All-Star break, my friend. You got to bring it home, and it's still going to be up for discussion whether the Tigers can get there against the likes of the Yankees, the Astros, and some of these other teams in the American League.
The one guy that you brought up that I definitely want to talk about, and I'm glad that you did bring him up, was Gleyber Torres. This is the guy that was basically talked about as maybe not going to be the guy anymore, maybe needs to move out, didn't make it in New York, was there with the Yankees when they made it to the World Series, right? All that, everything that happened in New York, and then just seeing him leave. The guy's batting .281, 9 home runs, 45 RBIs, and 84 hits. It's not a bad season. You know what I mean? For someone that was pretty much written off already, and people thought this guy's not going to do anything. Like you said it, he is a guy that's on the team right now that's contributing, but he's also becoming a factor overall. He's not the guy. There isn't the guy there, but this team is playing as a unit the way that they should. And it's good when you see guys from other teams that didn't necessarily make it going somewhere else and helping a team make it and get over that hump when people weren't expecting so much from this team. So I like what I'm seeing from Detroit. I truly believe, and I hope that it continues to happen for the rest of the season, because it would be good to see something different, right? We get tired of seeing the same names, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, these type of teams in the playoffs that you're used to seeing year in and year out. let's get back to some of these other teams that we know about as well, right? And I think seeing Detroit in there would be good for baseball. Obviously for the city of Detroit, 100%, but I think it would also be good for Major League Baseball.
You're going to have a lot of familiarity, right? When you see the American League, when it came to the playoffs last year, you're going to see the Houston Astros probably. You're going to see the New York Yankees. You're going to see the Tigers, who had that, that knocked off the Astros and, of course, lost to the Cleveland Guardians. But you're going to see, and you'll see, it looks like you're going to see the Seattle Mariners, right, in the playoffs possibility too. So you're going to get some of those fresh faces and new teams that you're going to get a chance to look at in Major League Baseball playoffs. On the other side, let's talk some National League. We're going to stick with Major League Baseball. I got to get some takes from Jose on a couple NFL tidbits as well, too, because, folks, we are a matter of days away, maybe hours, from NFL training camps opening up around the country. Yes, it seems like it's weird because it's July, but that is exactly the truth. NFL training camps are about to open up. It's Heatwave Sports coming live on Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 on the FM side. Find us on 1340 on the AM side. Streaming on the World Wide Web at the Las Vegas Sports Network. Chris Wynn, Jose Volante, coming your way on the other side of the break. Oh, yeah.
I got to hit up Mark. I haven't heard anything
hit
about credentials for UNLV this year. I know it's still early, but still, I just want to make sure.
As long as we get them on there, just email them.
Dude, so I was talking to the wife today. She was asking me, she goes, "What is it that you need to get your show back?" Mark keeps hitting me up like weekly. Yeah, he's like, "When are you gonna come back? Bring your show back. We'll work it out. Don't worry about the financials. Blah blah blah. This and that. Over and over again."
You just need one over there.
No, I know.
You need one sponsor.
And
because
I was telling her,
a couple $100 a week, right, to have a show.
So yeah, he's willing to charge me $75 for a show, which is not bad.
That's not bad
at all.
That seems a little high, actually.
No, that's what he used to charge me 6 years ago when I had my show there. Remember when I had my show over there for 6 months?
It seems high though.
He used to charge me $75 at that time. So for it to be the same price now?
No, but I think Shab and TC and KT, they pay maybe $200 a week. Maybe. I want to say maybe $300.
Correct.
They might pay $300, but it's more than 75.
I don't know. I gotta talk to Mark, but that was the last time I talked to him.
Yeah.
But it obviously depends on how many shows I'm gonna do, what days, what times. You know what I mean?
What are you looking to do? You looking to do just like Saturday, Sundays or something?
So I want either Friday or Sunday. So I'm either gonna do Friday.
Oh, you just want to do one day? Oh, then shit. Then $75. Yeah, that's not.
I'm either gonna do Friday or I'm gonna do Sunday morning. So I was thinking about it when I had my show in the
I would do
past.
Sunday.
When I had my show, even
I'd
at
do
Gorilla Cross, Gorilla Cross, I always wanted to do it Sunday. But my biggest thing was, Brian has his show on Sundays. I don't want to compete. But as time gone by, bro, I thought about it. I'm like, it's not about competing. It's just do you when you want to do you, and that's it.
Yeah.
If people decide to listen to me instead of someone else, and so be it. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. It's just the way the game is. You're not trying to take anyone's spot or anything. So.
Yeah, if you're just doing one show, bro.
Yeah, like I was before. Just
Sunday.
Yeah. Just one
best day because
1 hour a week. That's all I need, bro. I don't need anything else. Plus, that 1 hour a week being on a network keeps me relevant to get credentials.
Oh yeah,
which is the most important.
No, you automatically get them. Anyway.
That's the biggest thing.
But you can automatically get them for UNLV anyway. As long as you're in good standing and you've been covering UNLV football and basketball for years.
I just feel like they're gonna start looking at what are you actually doing? Like, are you posting? Are you writing?
As long as you got something.
You know me. I always do my videos. Yeah. I post my shit. Like I do all that. Have you seen Formula One?
No.
Pretty good movie. I saw it.
Is it?
So it's a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
But they did such a good job at making the movie that it doesn't feel like a 2.5 hour movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty good.
So the Aces played one game at home and then
back on the road. Around Dallas, right?
That's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah, it's like you just played like 5 games on the road on the East Coast, and now you're gonna play one game at home.
Yeah, I think they played 5 games in 10 days or something like that? That was crazy.
Exactly right. And they're And they're playing like 2 games. It's not just playing 1 game. They're going somewhere else too, right? After this.
No, they play this one and then it's the All-Star break.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You good, buddy? Bored? Chilling? Figure out what you want to do?
1 minute.
Oh yeah.
Before we cut out, though, if you can just mention the soccer.
We got.
Yeah.
One big tournament.
Huh?
One big tournament.
Can you go to the bathroom?
Yeah, you know where it's at.
Just don't do any school. Dude, so my daughter moved out, and her room, we're turning it into a studio.
Oh really?
I'm gonna start doing all my stuff there, bro.
Your daughter's old enough to move out.
Bro, her and her boyfriend just bought a house,
Dude,
brand new
We're
townhouse.
getting old, bro.
She's 20 years old.
We're getting old.
Yeah, tell me about it. He's gonna be 20 in fucking September. He's my firstborn. It does not accept wagers, but Tom will take your money.
Yeah. Super Sunday Night Edition continues to roll on here from Sin City, our studios here from the Fox Sports Radio studios, 98.9 on the FM side, 1340 AM Las Vegas. Chris Wynn, Jose Vellante, as we continue to bounce around all things sports. They had a great event, Jose, this weekend here in Las Vegas. Of course, it's the Battle for Las Vegas out at Las Vegas Ballpark, a matchup between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Raiders. The top players out there. It was really cool to get a chance to see. We saw your guy, Mr. October, at the Aces game on Saturday. Then he went out. Of course, I'm talking about Reggie Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Then he went out and threw out the first pitch for that game. Obviously, it's a matchup between players from both the Golden Knights and former players from the Golden Knights. Ryan Reeves was out there. I believe Riley Smith was out there as well, too, and some others. Taking on the Raiders, Brock Bowers and company. I guess Ryan Reeves is out there hitting bombs. It's a great event, though, for charity that unites the community. They do a tremendous job up there at Las Vegas Ballpark. So that was pretty cool to see that event go down. Also worth noting, we got to talk about this, Jose. A little matchup when it comes to the pitch in soccer, as we had PSG taking on Chelsea in a big-time matchup. All fans of football/soccer, okay, out there had their eyeballs tuned to this one over the weekend, Jose. And we had a surprise because when you talk about PSG right now, folks, you're talking about the best football club in the world, all right? And the results were a surprise as far as what transpired in that match on the pitch, my friend.
Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer was the name to watch today. The kid was unbelievable. 23-year-old young man out there doing his thing on the biggest stage when it comes to Club World Soccer, right? We had a lot of conversation about how this Club World Soccer tournament was going to be, this FIFA World Cup being here in the U.S., attendance, this, that, and the other. But honestly, to see PSG go out the way that they did against Chelsea today was just absolute dominance by Chelsea from the very beginning to the end. PSG could just not get anything started. Dembele was just not there, which is probably their best player overall when it comes to this team. But you have a team that just won the UEFA Champions League, right? Which is basically what a lot of people call the biggest tournament overall in soccer when it comes to clubs. They come out here, they beat Miami, you know what I mean, with Messi, and everyone's like, well, maybe Miami, maybe the MLS isn't to that par yet. PSG is just that good. But to be honest with you, Chris, to have that bragging rights now and see what PSG did today, and again, it was just absolute dominance. There was nothing that PSG did or could have done today to beat Chelsea. Chelsea just controlled the ball from the beginning to the end. Their defense was great. Goalkeeping was absolutely just stunner. Just everything that Chelsea did overall was just absolutely great. Cole Palmer, 2 goals. The other, I forgot the dude's name, the other guy, Chao Pedro.
Yeah.
Another goal at the end, towards the end of the game. So just overall dominance is what we saw today from this Chelsea team.
Okay, so for the Tim Oglesbys, the Tommy Barton, the Chris Wynns, we consider ourselves casual soccer/football fans. Chelsea, where do they stand right now when it comes to the Premier League? Are they the best team in the Premier League right now?
Best
or
team in the Premier League.
so
is Liverpool.
you understand the question I'm getting at here is that were they the ones that would best represent when it comes to the Premier League against the likes of PSG?
So they were top 3. They weren't number 1
Okay.
overall. Liverpool basically took over and ran away with the Premier League this year. But the thing about the Premier League, if you follow soccer, which again you don't, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure a lot of soccer heads out there will agree, the Premier League is the best league there is in all of soccer. And what I mean by that, from top to bottom, any team can win that league at any year. As where other leagues, you always have the same
Even over leagues like La Liga and Bundesliga and
if you look at La Liga and the Spanish league, it's always Real Madrid, Atletico, or Barcelona. Those are the only 3 teams you think of. You hear about the French league, PSG or Lyon, if anything, is what you're looking at. Maybe Monaco. That's all you have over there. Other than that, you're not really hearing the same team every year when it comes to the English Premier League. Next year could be Chelsea, could be Crystal Palace, could be Newcastle, could be anyone when it comes to that. But right now, especially the last couple of years, it's been basically Liverpool, Chelsea, those type of teams that have been up there. But this year overall, the way Chelsea played was not what a lot of people were expecting. So for them to go into this FIFA World Cup Championship and beat PSG, which, like you said, and a lot of people will agree, the best club in the world right now, after what they failed to do in the Premier League, was just absolutely astonishing and just great to watch.
Yeah, of course, there's a difference, obviously, between when we have club matchups and club tournaments as opposed to international matchups, right? We had, of course, a tournament. I don't know, and I talked to a couple of my friends from my other occupation that are big-time soccer fans like you are and soccer knowledgeable people, and they happen to be from Mexico, talking about, of course, the Mexico-USA matchup, and where Mexico gets the win, to won the final in that one. But these are Mexican fans, right, talking about it, and they weren't exactly over the top pumped about the matchup or the tournament as far as credibility worldwide. Do you understand kind of the question I'm asking here, Jose, when it comes to kind of the thought process when it came to soccer fans of that tournament and how it holds up against the rest of the world?
The Gold Cup, in my opinion, is one of the worst, just ridiculous cups that there is. All it is basically a cup where they try to get Mexico and USA in the final every single year. That's basically what it is. Because if you look at the rest of the teams and the rest of the countries that are added to this Gold Cup,
you don't get fired up about Guatemala and Honduras and some of this.
Come on. Yeah. Mauricio Cienfuegos is not coming out of that back door, ladies and gentlemen. If you know who that is, for the LA Galaxy back in the day, the Salvadorian. Yeah. So all these other teams are just not that good, Chris. Now, if you want to make the Gold Cup more interesting, why don't you bring some more South American teams? Why don't you invite Brazil? Why don't you invite Argentina? Why don't you invite Chile, Costa Rica, some of these bigger name South American
teams? It would give it much more legitimacy.
Correct.
Right?
They're trying to keep it to these North American teams, Canada, USA, Mexico. But now they're also they're inviting Saudi Arabia and Trinidad and Tobago and some of these teams that have nothing to do with the Gold Cup, just to add more intrigue, and it's not working. To me, out of all these tournaments, the Champions League, the Cups League, the Nations League, Copa America, the World Cup, everything, the Gold Club, in my opinion, is the worst. It's the bottom tier club or championship there is, Chris.
You're spot on too, Jose. See when you're kind of don't follow soccer. I follow it a little bit. I wouldn't say I don't follow it at all. I'm like a Wolverhampton Wanderers.
We don't all
guy.
know all.
I'm a Wolves guy. We're like a run-of-the-mill, Premier League team. I get excited like most American soccer fans when I start to hear the news about Lionel Messi maybe staying down in Miami, right? Because his family loves it down there, and he loves the situation with the Fusion down there. So yeah, that's to my extent. But you're exactly right. You're spot on when it comes to my soccer knowledge. It's Heatwave Sports coming away live on a super Sunday night. Chris Wynn, Jose Vellante joining you here live from Las Vegas. We're talking Major League Baseball, of course, heading into the All-Star break, Jose, at the turn of the bottom of the hour. National League, right? Also a lot of intrigue as well, too, when it comes to this side of the fence. Obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers are defending World Series champions, expected to be there right there again. Had a nice series with the San Francisco Giants over the weekend. And you take a look at, like, the National League East, there's definitely teams when it comes to that division that are going to throw all kinds of competition at the Dodgers. And then there is the National League Central, okay? And you got a team in the Chicago Cubs. Look, we understand 2016 was a remarkable season, right? It was an opportunity for Cubs fans to kind of break that glass ceiling It's been decades since they were able to capture a World Series. That team will go down in lore, all things Chicago sports, with winning there. But they've got a legitimate squad this year too, my friend. And it's not just all about Pete Crow Armstrong. You've got other pieces there from Swanson and and company and beyond. They are going to be a team to reckon with when it comes to the second half of the season and in the National League period.
I'll be honest with you. You're going to call me crazy. You talked about that National League Central there, right? You got the Chicago Cubs, Milwaukee Brewers obviously fighting for that top spot. Don't sleep on that St. Louis Cardinals team, though. I know my guy Evan was in here earlier, so he's probably going to be happy that I'm bringing up his Cardinals, and I'm saying this because I always give him stuff, and I tell him, hey, your Cardinals suck. Your Cardinals suck. They're not that good. But you know what? Brendan Donovan, Wilson Contreras, and another win. Is he your family member? Mason Wynn over there.
Exactly.
They're doing their thing, Chris. You cannot sleep on the St. Louis Cardinal team. I truly believe that this quote-unquote second half of the season, I think that this St. Louis Cardinal team is going to make a push, and they're going to give the Cubs and especially Milwaukee a run for their money. So I'm calling it now. I'm saying it now, Chris. Do not sleep on that St. Louis Cardinal team just yet.
This is a Cubs team. I talked about, obviously, Pete Crow Armstrong and Swanson. You're talking about Ian Happ. You're talking about Carson Kelly's kind of turned into like a regular MLB starter on this team. You've got Bush. You've got Tucker. Suzuki is outstanding as well, too. And then, of course, a pitching staff, right? I don't know what Talian's injury status is. I know he was on the injured list last week, but he's somebody that is a key part of that pitching staff as well, too, there in Chicago. Cubs fans there on the north side, excited about the prospects there. You look at that National League East, right? Going to be a lot of fun, all right? You got the Philadelphia, I call them the Las Vegas Phillies, of course. You know why, because they've got Bryce Harper. They've got Bryson Stott. It's a Phillies team that's intriguing as all get out to watch. And then you got the Mets, who played a series in Kansas City this weekend, and the Mets have, and rightfully so, have kind of taken the attention a little bit away from the Yankees in the great city of New York City, right? Where the media is constantly all about the Bronx Bombers all the time, it feels like. And the Mets have been able to kind of garner some of that attention. It's going to be a lot of fun, isn't it, to kind of see this kind of shake out between Philadelphia and New York at the top of this division in the NL East.
It's going to be a good run to the end here. Obviously, we want to see what Philly can do if they can hold on that lead, slim lead. Only a half-a-game lead. We've seen what New York has done all season, back and forth with this Philly team. And it's only them too, Chris, because Miami's not going to do anything in that division. We know that. No one else is going to creep up and come there. But I think that when it comes to the Mets, they got to figure out how to use the rest of the team overall, because we're just so focused on Juan Soto. Everything that we hear is all about Juan Soto. The conversation is Juan Soto. I think we got to find a way to get that conversation out of the way, right? Just have the media focus more on this New York Mets team. But I like Philly. I really do like what they have, their nucleus, the way they play at home, the way they played all season overall. Again, we still have a little bit left here in this quote-unquote second half of the season. But this was going to be tough, Chris. I can probably see both of these teams making the playoffs, obviously division winner and a wild card here. I would not be surprised if that does happen.
Yeah, you look at this Mets team, right? It's not just all about, obviously, Juan Soto. You got Francisco Lindor there, who's been pretty solid. Again, another one of my fantasy players, so that's why I pay attention to his stats. But Vientos has been pretty good as well, too. Obviously, Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo, too, right? A guy that doesn't really get mentioned too much is also a big contributor for them as well, too. So it's not necessarily all about the stars there, but a team sitting at 55-42 in the New York Mets, you can absolutely believe that they're going to be around when it comes to the National League playoff picture.
You mentioned Pete Alonso, a guy that a lot of people didn't even know if he was going to be in New York again this year. Think about that. The guy's third in MLB with RBIs and 77 RBIs this year. So just overall batting 280, having a solid season for, again, someone that we did not know if he was even going to be in a Mets uniform this year. So, yeah.
And, of course, the National League West, you got the Dodgers sitting there at 58-39, second best record in baseball. They got the horses. You expect them to be in the mix. But it always is a lot of fun, isn't it, Jose? To talk about the teams that are right now 5.5, 6, 7 games back. Of course, I'm talking about the likes of the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants. The Giants obviously make the move to bring in Rafael Devers. It is a team that, they brought in Justin Verlander, obviously expecting him to be a guy that could still, has a little bit left in the tank, right, to kind of buoy that pitching staff. These are the two teams in that division that are over 500, right, with the Giants. But the Padres always perplex me, Jose. The San Diego Padres, you want to believe, even if you're not a fan of the Padres, you're just a baseball guy, and you want somebody to give the Giants a run. It always feels like it's the Padres. Are they going to be able to get over that hump? It feels like they have the horses there, right? Whether it's Jackson Merrill, whether it's all these guys. I mean, you got studs across the board. It seems like when you look at their lineup, it's like all stars all over the place, and yet they're still a team that it doesn't feel like they're able to challenge Los Angeles in that division.
I think San Francisco has a better chance of catching LA than the Padres do. The problem, in my opinion, with the Padres is that the Padres don't play to win baseball games. The Padres don't play to win division titles. The Padres don't play to win World Series titles. The Padres play to beat the Dodgers, and that's it. And we saw it a few years ago, Chris, in the playoffs, when they beat the Dodgers, took them out, and then flamed out, couldn't do anything after that, couldn't even win a damn game. The thing about the Padres is when this organization figures out how to win baseball games that matter and not baseball games to be better than your rival, then that's when this team is going to get better. I don't care how good Tatis, Machado, all these guys are. Names aren't going to win me anything if the rest of the team isn't there overall. And again, when they figure out how to win games and not figure out how to beat the Dodgers, then they'll be all right. I think the Giants have a way better situation when it comes to this and them leap jumping the San Diego Padres and making a run towards the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers will hold this division for the rest of the year. I don't see them giving it up. But again, I see the Padres going backwards more than anything.
Manny Machado, Arraez, you got, you mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr., they got Bogarts over there still, you got Jackson Merrill, you got,
all these names.
Jose Iglesias is still hanging out there, by the way,
names.
Defensive player. Jake Cronenworth, my friend, come on now. Like, there's a lot of talent over there. You get the feeling like they should be, like, difference makers in the National League, and yet they never, especially when the playoffs come around, they never seem to make a dent, and it makes it just very tough. It's Heatwave Sports coming away live on a Super Sunday night. Let's close out a quick NFL take, Jose, because I got to get your take. We are on the verge of training camps opening up. We're here in Vegas, okay? The Raiders, it's a whole new ball game here. New head coach, new quarterback, brand new running back, basically, right? Offense that's going to be retooled across the board. You've got one of the great young tight ends in football. Is this a Raider team that can maybe throw a monkey wrench into things when it comes to the AFC West, given that you got the tandem of Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and company here in town?
No. The Raiders won't even win 6 games this year, Chris. I'm telling you right now. You're literally bringing in the Seattle Seahawks to run your organization.
Yeah.
You have their old coach. You have their old quarterback. I just don't see it happen. The day you sign Geno Smith is the day that I lost all respect for the Las Vegas Raiders, because this is not a guy that's going to come in here and be your franchise quarterback and win you anything. Can he win you games? Can he be a regular season game manager? 100%, if that's what you want.
He resurrected his career in Seattle, my friend. He did.
Absolutely nothing.
He stepped his game up, though.
He did, but he won
Seattle.
absolutely nothing, and that was in Seattle.
Raider Nation, Jose. They
Exactly. You're
expect
going to
him
chew his ass out if he doesn't do anything.
No, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like it's Raider Nation. They're going to think that he's going to be the second coming of, like, Rich Gannon from the early 2000s. That's what Raider Nation thinks. That's what you're going to hear on the airwaves here with Clay and our guys. They're going to start talking about how that, they already are talking about how Geno Smith can be that guy in Vegas.
He's not.
You don't think so?
He's not that.
No.
He's not going to be there. I'm telling you right now, they will not win 6 games this year. I truly do not believe that him coming in here is going to make him any better. I think his better days are behind him, and they were in Seattle. He's going to come here into Vegas and just absolutely stink it up. I love Pete. I love Pete Carroll. I'm a huge USC fan. You know that I love what he did with the Trojans. But he's past his time already. He's done. The guy should be up in the box in an office, wearing a suit, hanging out, doing things from a phone in front of a computer. He should not be back out on the sidelines trying to coach. See, I get it, Chris. We see the videos of, hey, what what's up, guys? He's out there patting everybody. And
He's got all that
being cool and
energy for a guy that's up there in age. He's up
Correct.
there. You
I
know,
don't see that helping you win.
he's almost doing black flips on the practice field and stuff. And
He'll be gone no more than 3 years. I guarantee you.
a couple good positives though, Jose, about the Raiders. You gotta like Ashton Jeanty.
I love the kid.
You gotta like him
Love
as
the
far
kid.
from a standpoint, and obviously Brock Bowers, right? You're talking about two pieces there offensively that will make the Raiders interesting, right? Right, Mr. Vellante? They'll make it interesting. I mean, Ashton Jeanty, how good do you think he can be?
How good do I think he can be? I think he's going to run out the gate this year. I think he's literally going to be a star right out of the gate because the Raiders have nothing else on offense. They're going to give this kid everything from the beginning.
Wait, time
I
out.
guarantee you that.
I just mentioned Brock Bowers.
Yes, I'm talking about. Okay, other than that, what receiver do they have that you can name that's going to be a big star?
Jacoby Myers,
Get
right?
the hell out-
He's going to come out
Get
of the gate
outta here.
against his old team
Get
in
outta
the
here.
New England Patriots
but
and blow it up.
But real talk, real
Yeah.
quick, I know we're in and out. I think
Yeah.
Ashton Jeanty will be a star. I think he'll have a great first year.
Jose Vellante, it's been great having you here co-hosting Heatwave Sports. Tell them how they can find you, my friend, on social media and beyond.
At Jose_Volante, at Straight Bet Sports on all things social media.
Thanks for joining us tonight, all of you Heatwave Sports Nation out there. Thanks to Jess for making us sound good here live in the studios. I'm Chris Wynn in. Tim Oglesby, Tom Barton, every Saturday and Sunday night. Usually Tom Barton, a little solo action on Saturday night. It's Heatwave Sports here as we break down all things sports. Get a first chance for all things Vegas to get a chance to hear our takes when it comes to the sports world across the board. You got the Major League Baseball All-Star Game coming up Tuesday. All the stars on display. Home Run Derby tomorrow night, as well as maybe some other festivities going on there in the great city of Atlanta, Georgia. And as I mentioned, folks, we are, I believe, hours or just a couple of days away from training camps opening in the National Football League. For Jose, for Jess, I'm Chris Wynn. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend and a great week, folks. A great sports week across the board. It's Heatwave Sports, Fox Sports Radio, 98.9 FM, 1340 AM, streaming on the World Wide Web of the Las Vegas Sports Network. We'll talk to you again on the other side. Bang.
All right, it's
Bang,
late.
bang.
I'm tired. I'm
Good
hungry.
stuff.
We're out. For Chris Wynn, Jose V. Appreciate y'all. People that was texting me, hitting me up during the show, thank you. I appreciate that. That shows me you guys are watching, you are following. I had a couple people, Chris, that hit me up on the text.
Yeah.
That were actually listening in the car on the radio.
Nice.
Not even watching, listening, which
That's
is awesome.
that's the whole point of doing
Exactly.
the show, right?
That's
People are
exactly.
listening.
We want people to be on the radio waves for sure. But hey, again, Chris, you let them know where they can find you, my man. And what you
At
be doing.
CWin77, Instagram and beyond. You can find me at Christian Wynn on the X Machine / Twitter and all of the airwaves here in Vegas across the dial, my friends. And here on the show, of course, Heatwave Sports on Saturday and Sunday nights on occasion.
On occasion. And before we go, I just got to say one thing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This guy right here, first person ever when I started doing media that gave me the time of day. First person ever that allowed me to be in a radio station. That was here on ESPN Radio. You remember that. We played Baker. We hung out. We talked about the Falcons taking on the Seahawks. That was the year the Falcons lost to the Patriots after being up 28-3 that year. Chris gave me my shot, and I'll never forget that. Chris, love you, and I appreciate you, my man.
Absolutely, brother.
We're out. Peace.